So today literally I had a loss. As I told you. Anyway, I do some kind of recaps. Today I had a loss. I wanted to buy this pair from here, and the risk was something like was literally 13 pips. Though they took me out, I chilled, lost $200 of this setup because I wanted it to pump. At least I look for sales of this area of interest. Though they pumped me out, I lost $200 in this setup. Which one else? Bitcoin. I want Bitcoin to come, and last time I had a setup here. I sold. It gave me some money off here, but later it came and I reacted off these levels, and currently I wanted to see that maybe I can sell from here, but these are just setups done on phone, but they are much clearer when on my PC. So these are swing setups for gold. You remember, guys, when I got this gold buy here, right? You remember?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it is a swing setup because I want gold to do everything, and I am hoping gold for it to at least buy and tap in this area of interest. Then we do what? We look for possibilities to sell. So I had those some buys here, some buy here, but they later came and liquidated me out. But of course, here I was at B. Um, these were just insider trades of going to confirm another trend, of which it came and gave me here a sniper. Then I started buying. Then this is kind of an inside trade that I got today, though it had left me already, so I just chilled out. Then these are just a reversal stuffs that I did here. The HTP for me to buy, and currently I'm not trading gold because it's not clear, but though I am kinda bullish. Then it will give me clear structures. Then maybe I look at buying price. Then currently the setup that is running, it is of GBP USD that I quote in the which broker I use this broker. This is a setup that I quote off. I got here as though they came and removed me because I had set a break even because of a break even. If it wasn't, then I would be still in the game. But yeah, I'm hoping the GBP to pump up to this area. Anyways, that's not the case. Let's look at the main stuff that we are here to look at today. Let me go to the broker I use for teaching. Let me try forex.com. Okay, today we are going to look at something else. After learning types of SNR, we looked at types. We also looked at how they are created, and we looked also at fresh and unfresh levels of SNR. So currently we have looked at so far these three things. They are, yes, three things. We looked at types of MSNR. We looked how they are called and so forth in the previous videos that we had. We looked also at fresh and unfresh levels. Hopefully you know how they are marked, and hopefully you know how they are marked. And if I told you if I told how they are marked, and if I told they you view them, you can just rate them immediately or name them immediately minus okwesikamu. How do I say kwesikamu in English? Anyways, let's continue. Okusikatiramu okitegeera. So most of you may know Luganda. So there are some words that are hard in translating. So let's continue. So today we are going to look at something else, something called a storyline. A storyline. Today we are going to look at something else called a storyline. We are going to look at something else called a storyline. So a storyline typically we are going to look at how to identify it. Let me remove this. Remove these drawings. Let me write here. Today we are going to look at storyline. It's another topic of this. So if somebody asks, storyline. So a storyline, it's kind of typically when I talk about a storyline in simple terms, this is just a name that we use in MNSR, but a storyline, it's kind of how a storyline, or how do you, for example, in a simple term or in a detailed way, in Jagamanti, for example, if you're reading like a novel, there is how the writer of that novel wrote it from the start up, aligning the story, you get. So in forex trading, a storyline, it's how did you find a trend. You have how did you find a trend, or a trend, how to find a trend, or how to find a bias, or how to find a move. This is called a storyline. A storyline, in simple terms, it is when you're doing storyline stuff, it means that you're looking for a trend where you are going to do what? To trade that price to which the side which you are going to trade that price. It is kind of finding a bias, a storyline. So we are also going to look at how to find um, how to find a storyline, how to find how to find a storyline, how to find a storyline. So in simple terms, the storyline, I said how to look for a bias or a trend. So here comes the heading, that how to do what? To find a storyline. How to find a storyline. One, you have to put into mind that a storyline has principles. How a storyline has principles. So let's look at those principles of a storyline. Principles of a storyline. So one, if I talk about a storyline, hopefully you can understand what I'm meaning. I said it is how to find a bias. So if in simple terms, like principles of finding a bias, principles of finding a trend, principles of finding a move, trading MNSR. Okay, how do we find a trend? How do we find a move when we are trading a story line? One, a storyline starts with a storyline. Storyline starts with a candle rejection of a fresh level. So guys, if I can add on this, hopefully you can the reason why I told you that you have to understand the types of MNSR, and another thing that you have to understand the fresh and fresh levels. Why was I insisting on it? I was insisting on it because these words, they follow each other, they move in line. Okay, these words, they move in line. Okay, a storyline starts with a candle rejection of a fresh level. So let me illustrate here. So for example, you have here your area of support, area of resistance, or area of resistance. Okay, so one, a candle comes, of course, trades from below. When you're looking for sales, it comes from below, trades off that area of interest, and the body closes below it. So here I can add, a storyline starts with a candle rejection of a fresh level, and okay, yeah, that's okay. It's another principle. That's okay. So this is the rejection. The candle can reject and remain bullish, but even the candle can reject and goes bearish, depending on the volatility that can be in the market. It doesn't matter. But all we want to see that the candle has rejected and left a candle wick on that level like that. On the level like that. So for example, this is one rule of, so let me draw here for you, for the simple, because you know how to draw the what, the support and resistance areas, the types of MNSR, all of them, you know how to do what, to draw them. So let me just draw this, and you see. Okay, so I'm using the V, but it doesn't matter whether you use the gap, whether the V, as long as you follow the principles. And everything you do, keep it basic. Okay, though we shall go till we look at those advanced stuff. So this is so this is our level. Let me say it is a V level. It's an A level. It is our resistance area. So the candle came and did the rejection like that. To open from there, then it did a rejection. It doesn't matter whether, I'll show you something. It doesn't matter even if, okay, let me, it doesn't matter whether this price on whether the candle that formed a resistance or a support. Like if I talk about the SNR levels, so you have to know that I'm talking the types of SNR that we talked about. I'm not only talking about the resistance, the A level. No, you have to put into the picture the bigger picture of all levels. If I'm talking, you have to put in. If I talk about say if I talk about resistance areas, you just have to in your mind to draw all resistance areas and you mark them, and it is the same thing that happens. If I'm saying so, it doesn't matter whether this candle traded and the next candle came, or else you may find this zone was created months or weeks or days ago, then this candle came and rejected off this area, came and rejected somewhere like that. It is okay. Yeah, it is still valid. Okay, am I clear there, guys? Am I clear there?
Yeah.
It is okay. So so this is the rejection, the first rule. It doesn't matter whether resistance or support areas like that. It is the same thing. It is the same rule that applies. Candle rejection. That's number one rule. And these ones I don't need what I go. I'm not going to need homework of them because they are currently I'm teaching something that you need to know. When I reach on time frames, which time frames we look at these storylines, that's when I will need homeworks. Okay. So then let's look at something else. So we are looking at principles of how I find trends, of how I find the bias, of how I look at the market and I tell you that we are buying or selling. So let's continue. Principle number two, principle 2. Let me remove this. Principle 2. Principle number 2. So we have had remember, for me, I move with everything with what? With confirmations. You get? So after rejection, what do you look at next? Remember, when the price goes and approaches your area of interest, what do you look at next? What do you look at next? You shift one time frame below. You shift one time frame below. Why do you shift from the time frame that did the rejection to one time frame below? You are looking for a breakout. You are looking for a breakout. So shift to confirm that the storyline is confirmed and you can take your risk. It has to break one time frame below of an area which was created. So let's continue. It must have, remember, this is one of my concept, one setup that I use, the A plus setup that I use to get this to get a setup. But even in other areas you may find that the breakout is so far and you have to do another time the second time frame breakout. So the principle here implies that it has after rejection, price has to reject. It has to break out. After rejection, price, hopefully you're writing some notes. Price has to break out one time frame below. Price has to break one time frame below. So there is another thing that you have to, I will tell you that later when you are doing this time when we are on charts, because you're with me, of course. When you are doing this on charts, then I show you another which is called second time frame breakout. Why do we use a second time frame breakout? This one comes with analysis. If the zone that has to break is far, that's when we go on a second time frame breakout to get a trend. But currently, let's first use this one. But the other ones are simple. You will know them. They are so simple. Of course, as you're following me, you'll get it right. So we have to get one time frame breakout. So for example, this was your zone, this was your area of interest, your resistance. It does, as I said, if I mark here resistance, what happens in a resistance, it is the same thing that happens on a support. Hopefully I'm clear, right?
Yeah.
It is the same thing that happens on a support. So this is your candle that bought, went there and did the rejection. That is your candle. That's your candle that did the rejection. So this principle, so here I'm going to draw a line chart. Here you can see that in this candle you may see that it is just one candle like this, but when you go on one time frame below, you will see price, because it was buying. What happens on this resistance is the same thing that happens on the support. So when price was buying, it was doing something like higher highs, higher lows, 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 like that. Then it price moved up, it rejected. So in the process of price rejecting, as long as they tap your zone, you have to shift and look for the area where they are going to, where price is going to do what, to break out. So here like this, it rejects on a higher time frame, though on one time frame below, this is the price that you'll be seeing. Then it rejects. Then on this time frame you are looking for confirmation, it breaks out. Then if it comes there, it breaks out. So this is what we call a breakout on a level, on a level that was broken, that was created, this V level. Of course, they have to break off a V level to confirm a change in a trend when you're dealing with selling. But whereas when you're dealing with buying, they have to break an A level. So this is the zone that was done. What this is what we call breakout, BO. This is what we call big O, breakout. So these are the principles. These are the first principles. So I want to go far. I'm not going to go far. I'm not going to go far for now to look for entries. What? No. These are, I have to take you one step by step. Okay. So somebody may be asking that now, yes, this is we have understood the principles, the first principle. These are the first principles. Okay, we haven't gone too far, so we are first looking at how to find a storyline and how to confirm it, full stop. That's what I'm looking at. So one, if now let's go on time frames, where we look for trends, for storylines. Okay, so this is where Amos's question goes. So let's go on area on time frame that where we look for storyline. Time frames for time frames for looking time frame looked at for a story. Time frames looked at for a storyline. Time frames looked at for a storyline. So guys, do you see all this? Do you see these? These are my time frames. But all these time frames have each and every duty of its own. All these time frames have their own duties. Okay, they have their own duties. So of which we are going to do what? To look at time frames to look for a storyline. One, we have monthly. 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 We have weekly. We have weekly. We have daily. We have daily. We have also 4 hour. We have also 4 hour. So whenever you're looking for a storyline, you have to look at a monthly. You see what a monthly is doing. But a monthly is not consistent. Is not. You have to just know what a monthly is doing, but not consistent for a storyline. But not consistent for a storyline. What do I mean here? This time frame, yes, you can look there. You can look there to see what the monthly is doing, the levels that it has created, and you anticipate the next monthly movement, but it is not consistent for a storyline. Okay, I'll explain that later why. So daily, why is it not consistent? I'm gonna explain. So typically we look at weekly, daily, and 4 hour to look for a trend. But it doesn't mean that because I have said weekly and daily and 4 hour, you should not look at the monthly. Monthly, you have to look there for you to see what the monthly is doing. But it is not consistent for a storyline. Why? It takes long for it to do what? To present. For example, it may reject and it takes even 2 years when you're waiting for a breakout one time frame below. Hopefully you can understand that, right?
Yeah.
Monthly can reject and even takes 2 years when it hasn't done a breakout. That's why we don't need to do what? To be looking at monthly for a trade, but we have to look there to see what the monthly is doing so that we anticipate the weekly movements. Then weekly is the time frame mostly we use for looking at a storyline. Mostly after you know what the monthly is doing, so you look at weekly. You look at the weekly, what is doing. You look at the daily. Of course, weekly will give you the picture of daily, and the daily will give you the picture of 4 hour. So these are the time frames we look. What have I done again? So these are the time frames typically we look at when we are looking for a storyline. So these are, when you're looking for a storyline, of course I said these are the the time frames. So on a time frame, of course, these time frames create levels. Of any time frame that you're at and you mark that level you name it monthly level. But of course, me literally I don't write there monthly level what, because I know what I'm doing. You get, because it is just on my fingertips. I don't write it there, but within time, of course, also you'll start doing so. But now, for example, if monthly had created a zone and it rejects, that zone is called monthly reject monthly. And if weekly had created a zone of a fresh zone, remember I said it has to reject of a fresh zone. That zone is called weekly reject weekly. Then daily reject daily. 4 hour reject 4 hour. So typically when you look at weekly time frame, the reason why I look at weekly time frame, this is where I actually take few trades. I really take few trades. I'll take even 1 to 2 trades that are running. These are kind of as either a swing setup, or even it can even lead to position trading, this one, because you're aligning with the what, with the monthly. So this concept helps you to align time frames so that you see those big moves. So that's why I like it so much. So weekly, because you have the picture of monthly, you can get a setup here running. You wait for weekly to align with the monthly. In the process of weekly aligning with the monthly, of course also these time frames will be lining. Okay, that's where you will get a trade and you start, you hold trades and you'll be wondering, how did I do it? I have held a trade of 2,000 pips on gold I have ever held, even those who have been following me in the channel, like a trade that ran for 140 RR. Crazy, right? So these are the things that I literally need to focus on. So let me go back a little bit here. So anyway, let me first continue here. So after, these are the time frame when you open up your charts, the time frames that you do what, you look at for a storyline. I haven't told you to go and look for a trade. No, I'm telling you how to find a trend, how to find a move, how to find a storyline. This is typically what I'm teaching. I haven't reached at the moment of you getting a trade. Okay, so after you knowing the time frames where you look for a storyline, so you have looked at. So for example, this is your now let me go, sorry about that, I'm going to explain that. So let me go now on time frames for breakout. Time frames for breaks out. Time frames looked at for a breakout. Time frames looked at for a breakout. So since previously I said that if you're looking for a storyline, I gave you time frames that you look at when you're looking for a trend, when you're looking for a move, when you're looking for a bias. Okay, so if monthly you wrote you found a zone on monthly, you marked that monthly zone, then the candle came and rejected. Okay, so when the candle goes and rejects, you have to look for a time frame that you look at for a breakout. Okay, it's what we are going to look at. So for example, when you're looking at monthly, when you're looking at monthly, when you're looking at monthly, you have you have to look for a breakout. You have to look for a breakout on a weekly time frame. One time frame below monthly, it is weekly time frame. So this one we shall call it week. Yes, when you're looking for a break, I'm going to show you how we call them, how we call these stuff. So when you're looking for a breakout, you look at the weekly, then weekly, on a weekly time frame, you look on a daily. One time from below weekly, it is daily. On a daily, you look for a breakout on 4H, 4-hour time frame. When you are on 4-hour time frame, you look at 30 minutes. 30 minutes for a breakout. One time frame below monthly, it is weekly. One time frame below weekly, it's daily. One time frame below daily, it is 4 hours. Remember, you're looking for a storyline of the time frames that I gave you. Okay, is everything clear? Mubitegeera oba wali wabuze? Saagala mbaleke mabega. Muli steady, eh? Okay, so let me come back here on the on these principles. So if this was your monthly, so if this was your monthly, weekly, daily, or 4-hour, and the candle comes and rejects here like this, remember, when you mark your weekly level, still you have to wait on that weekly level for the weekly candle to reject. Then after the weekly candle rejects, this zone is called 1. It becomes unfresh, and because it has rejected, what we are looking at, since it has rejected this zone, we call it either monthly reject monthly, weekly reject weekly, daily reject daily reject daily, and 4-hour reject 4-hour. So let me use weekly reject weekly. So it is the name for this, for that zone. Hopefully I'm making sense. So this is a weekly zone, and the weekly candle has rejected. This zone is called weekly reject weekly. So this candle, remember, when it is moving down, when it just goes up, it won't come back and break your zone, of course. When it rejects, you have to move, to shift. In the process, you will see that it is what? It is going to break out. It is going to do what? To do a breakout. So it won't go and close above here. It won't go and close above there. So it will be doing a rejection, and it will be looking for areas to break out. So since this is weekly reject weekly, we are looking for a time for one time frame below that will lead to a breakout. Of course, this one, now we call it, this area, since this area, it is weekly reject weekly, that area, this zone becomes daily breakout. To confirm that the storyline has changed, now we are looking for sales. Did I make things clearer for you? Have you understood? Yes?
Yeah.
Have you understood?
Hmm. Can I ask a question?
Yeah, you can ask, please.
When the rejection come on let me say on your weekly,
Mm.
you have to wait for you have to first wait for the candle closure.
No. when when price taps, when the price taps your, remember, if you wait for, when will you get a trade if you're waiting for breakout? If I mean when you're waiting for a candle to close out, yes, it can close out minus breaking out, you still wait. This is where patience does what? This is where patience implies, because you are following your rules, your principles, how you trade. Okay. You're waiting for what you want to, happen, then you enter. If it doesn't happen, you won't enter. You'll be waiting for other things, you'll be doing other things. Okay. So let's, yeah, so if immediately after price taps your area of interest, you wait for a breakout. This one that I'm giving you, it is best, and it is the one of the A plus setups that I do, what I use. There are even others, but of course I have to take you one by one for you to understand these things. So after price tapping in your zone, you just shift one time from below, waiting for breakout. So currently we have looked at time frames for when you're looking for a storyline, and we have looked at a time frame to look at for breakout. That's where homework comes in. So I'll be needing homework for the rejection of the time frames that I have talked about and the breakout. Of course, I can't go minus going on charts, then I show you something. Okay. So if let me see if I can. Let me first screen show this, then I send it in the channel. Of course, the way I have drawn them and stuff. If you don't explain, if somebody hasn't explained, of course, bajja kulaba nga tebali basoma. I had forgotten even tell you something, but I'm going to tell it to you, of course. So have you received the pictures?
Yeah.
Okay. And another thing, guys, you have to know that the reason why I trade this concept is the reason why I can risk, even if, as I told you as I began, most of you, actually, not one, not two, one, all of you, I have ever told you that yes, there's no concept that is 100% that you can trade all the time, minus you getting beaten out. No, I also lose. But what makes it different? What will make a difference between me and you? That me, I'm risking what I know that is small. For example, I have gotten a trade that is literally. Let me say I have gotten a trade that is literally like 8 pips stop loss, something like that. So which person cannot enter this trade really? Like, even if they take me out, as long as the price has done everything that I wanted, even if they take me out, I'll be still okay, because at least I know in 20 trades, if I'm not reluctant, if in 20 trades I can get 15 right, I'm sure about that. As long as you are following the principles and seeing. And another thing you have to put into context, that if you don't see anything, eh, Remember, we joined the forex market for all of us to be financially free, to relieve ourselves from stress. So when you go at a pair and you look at it and you see that things are things are not touching each other, just leave it and look for something else. But these are the pairs me I trade. I trade ZAO, I trade ZAO, I trade GBP JPY, GJ, I trade BTC. I would have traded silver, but silver has a lot of spreads. So these are the pairs that me personally I trade, and they have been so good for on that pair. But it doesn't mean that the concept doesn't work on other pairs. Okay, it doesn't mean so. So other pairs that I put in, if things have failed on these pairs, of course I add in Euro USD, GBP USD, and some other exotic pairs. So the concept works on everything. Whether you are all trading indices, whether you're trading VIXs, it all works as long as you follow. The reason why I don't trade currently VIXs, because I like so much being on what trading view. So me things of going on MetaTrader 5 on my PC all the time, you know, because me analysis I use my phone most of the time. I use my phone most of the time because I know what I'm looking for. I rarely use my PC. I rarely use my PC. So you have to put into mind that the concept works. Oyinza okuzuka lero ne bakuba n'enkya ne bakuba. But just know when you get a trade, it's gonna pay you something great. And another thing that you have to put in line when you're looking for a storyline, that when price starts on the monthly level, it has to stop on another what? On another level. So that's how price moves from support, from resistance to support. Then, for example, if it comes and rejects, and does a breakout, you enter and you start selling. Of course, you enter and start selling. Of course, the same way it started here, it is the same way it has to start here. The same way it has to start and goes. And if it breaks, also it is another outlook, how you look at. Of course, this is the zone that was broken. Of course, you'll be waiting for price to come again and reject off this resistance and break out, comes back, then I will teach you that. So have you seen that this is kind of another different way of reading price action, and it is not the support and resistance you guys have been knowing that you came and said, let me just try the support and resistance this guy is talking about. It's really different, okay? It's really, really different. Let me go here. So these are my areas of interest. So for example, these buys that I got here, let me remove these drawings. I have to just give a recap of how I got these good trades that have been here. So I want to show you something here that so one, you remember there is a video that I sent on YouTube. Currently, of course, I have to tell you, there is a video that I sent on YouTube of this area that price has to do what? To sell. So after this rejection, as you can see, so this is the candle that rejected. So I have to start from back. You go on one time frame below. So you can see that all along, this is the way this candle opened. So the candle opened, you see this was a close, this was a price closed here. Yes, this was the other candle. This price here, it is this candle here. the price I showed you, it is this candle here, this one here, inside. So in most cases, if after you marking, for you not to get confused on low time frames, after you marking the area where you are seeing a rejection, where you're seeing a rejection, this candle that rejected, it is better you put on this what, this vertical line, so that you see where it opened from and where it opened from, so that you start from there, you see where the rejection happened. So when you go on 4 hour, you can see how price of the previous candle was doing. It went down, then later it started buying, then it closed, the other candle closed here, yet it had left this what, it has left this, the zone on a day after the two candles after they closed, so it left this zone. So this candle that did a rejection, it opened from here and it did what, it went and rejected. It went and rejected there, opened, went and what did first, it came and rejected here, as you can see. It first came and rejected here, sorry. So by the way, here it was so confusing. The reality is it was so confusing, but of course I can tell you that. So typically, since it was a day, this is another concept I remember that I used. Of course I have to tell you that temugamba nti bimulemye, no, temugamba nti bimulemye. So there is another outlook that we look at price, that if in case price Gamas Magalint, this was another concept that I used here. Of, for example, if we have a zone, of course, if we have a zone, let me say on a daily, and the daily candle comes and rejects, okay, comes and rejects. Let me say this is where it rejected, and these are 4 hour candles where we are looking for breakout, like that. We know very well that when it is going to break out, we wait for 2 candles to form. Wait for 2 candles to form. For us to go, as when price is going to reject, when we are already inside, so that we don't wait for a rejection for a breakout. It rejects when we are already what? When we are already inside. So we wait for this candle, the third candle, to come, and we enter aggressively of this area. Then it does what? It goes. So it is what price was doing here. As it came up, what it did, it came and did a rejection of this area. It first did what? It first came, traded above, then it created a zone of this area where it did a breakout, because it was inside. It was inside the candle that was here. Because this is kind of advanced kind of analysis, so that's why I realized, I was like, oh, this is where I got take a trade. Is it here? Yes. This is where I got off a trade here. Then I said if price after rejection of 4 hour here, if it closes here, we might buy off this area. If you recall the other analysis that I did, of course this analysis I did it on when price was still here in the first video. If you go and check it, you will see it. Though I'm going to play it so that you see it, how I did the analysis here, and how I predicted that if we may sell off here, but because of this rejection, and if kind of closes here, because we're dealing on 4 hour, and if it closes above here, because it did a breakout here, if it closes above here, we are looking for buys, of which it had done, then it started buying. Though I'm not going to go in so much in that deep analysis, of which we haven't reached there yet. Currently, let me first go step by step. So the nearest thing that it is on GBP AUD. So if you want that analysis for gold, the area that where I was in, I may refer to the first video that I did in the main channel, GBP AUD. So let's begin on monthly. Let's begin on monthly, on the current price. The current price. So we can see that price did the rejection there. So this is monthly, reject monthly. At any guys, if I gave you homework, don't use the same pairs that I have been doing analysis, like doing some examples for you. Look for another pair, okay? Okay, am I clear? Most of you send me the same charts that I have been doing examples on. So let's go on weekly. We see, so you can see that it came rejected here. This was the candle that rejected on weekly. This was a rejection, though you can see on a daily that it bought and went up, but it was doing a rejection of what? Of a monthly. So you can see this V level. If I put on a line chart, you can see that this is the V level that was somebody was waiting for a breakout. So if I go on a line chart, why monthly is not consistent, you can see that you waited for almost a month. You waited for almost a month to break out. The whole month you were waiting for a breakout. As you can see, it broke out, then you're waiting for an entry. 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are almost 2 and 1 week, 2 months and 1 week. You are waiting for the weekly, for the monthly stuff. So you can see that what did it do? It came, rejected, and broke out. Hence, confirming that we are doing what? We are selling. So the entries, of course, they have to run off a day you go back, you look at the monthly. We don't have any area of interest, so this is our area 1. So we have also another thing that we call MTF. Because of this rejection, we see this long way, so that means there is price inside that zone. Because you are looking for sniper trades, we look for those fresh levels. We can see that we have this fresh level. So of course, when you're dealing with monthly, when you're dealing with the monthly storyline, even if you stop on 1 hour for your sniper trade entry. But remember, another thing is, the more you refine in, you may miss a trade. So let me go on a daily. I just wait for price to tap me in. So you can see that literally we might have missed. But if you stopped on 4 hour, the more you refine in for snipers, you may miss. So we stop there, because for me, even when I'm doing a storyline for the daily, I stop on 30 minutes for entries. But if I have a smaller account, of course, if you have a smaller account and you refine so much, you may miss a trade. So like that, it comes, taps you in, then you be like, okay, since this is a monthly storyline, where are we heading? You go back on a monthly, you look for possible area where you're going to stop this trend. Where is the the nearest fresh level that you haven't tapped into. Of course, this was the entry, and the nearest fresh level is this one. That. So you say I'm selling from there, because this is monthly. Of course, you have to put your at least something like 200, 150, even they are enough. 150. Remember, this is a monthly and your position trading, so you hold. You hold. That's something. Yeah, that's kinda not bad for swingers, but this is a current pair of which it is not even strong enough, so you can see that it gave you 460 pips. That's 4R. That is 4R, you know. That is 4RR. So let's go on something else. So after price tapping your area of interest, let me say on GBP AUD, the way it starts, the way it, so you can still even hold, but after this rejection, of course you can move out, and you keep in partials, and it has rejected. You look at weekly and you see. So where are you waiting for the candle to do what? To break out. You put on a line chart. You see, this is where you're waiting for price to break out. Remember, a breakout is confirmed with the candle body closure above this zone. As you can see, this, the body closed below. So you confirm it with the candle body closure. So somebody may be like, how can I trade this pair? Now let me remove all this, because I have been dealing with the monthly. So let me do real analysis of this pair. So if we look at the current, when we look at monthly, it came and rejected. It is still selling. Why? It hasn't confirmed buys. But if we look again in this area, this candle here, it rejected. What did it do? It rejected and broke out. But since this was the first rejection, of course it sold. So people are already doing what? They are already buying. They want to do what? To buy that price. This price here. This is a sniper trade that will happen here, or price will come and tap. But if you look on a weekly, because if you remember that I wrote here, I was like, this is the first entry, of which you can know that me going to low time frames, it's called MTF. I'll tell you that, but I'm just giving some kind of analysis. But first of all, when price breaks out, that time frame that broke out, typically it's the time frame that where we look for trends. But because price, it has left lots of a long wick this side below, we go on low time frame, finding those fine zones. So you can see this is the nearest that we can be waiting for price to come, as in. But if it doesn't come back for buys here, this is where our first risk buys will be. But if it doesn't come and taps us for buys here, we shall be kind of holding this. So we are just in the midst of a consolidation on this pair. Why? Because it confirmed the sales, and later it confirmed buys. So it is selling. So we want to see if monthly can do what? Can confirm again, so that we say that we are doing what? We are buying price. So this is the analysis on what? On monthly. So we have known that monthly is currently doing what? We want to see that monthly sells. And another thing is that when this candle closed, it also did what? It left a zone on what? On monthly. So price has done what? Has rejected. Hence we are also waiting for a breakout here. So these are the two scenarios that we shall be looking at. If price on monthly breaks there, we shall keep on selling, and if it doesn't, we shall keep on selling, and if when price tap comes here, we buy for price to come and activate our sales again here. Hopefully you have understood, guys. Oh, it is kind of difficult how me I'm analyzing the market. If price comes and breaks here, if it comes here, I'll press in my buys to buy, and for price to come here, and we do what? We sell. Because remember, price moves like that. Okay, it won't just move in a consolidation all the time. So we have understood that currently what we are in an area of what? Of a consolidation on a monthly. As you can see, neither has monthly broken either to the upside or to the downside. It is still just consolidating. It is just still consolidating. So me currently, this one I can't take it as a breakout. Why? Because it's just something little here, so I can't take it. So neither has price confirmed bull going to buy or selling. It is still in a consolidation. So there we can understand that since price it has done a rejection up, and we want to see whether it confirms here to come and buy these buys that it confirmed, or else we shall remain in the sales that we are already into. This is where position traders stick in. So after us knowing that, we go back on a weekly, us knowing. So in a weekly area of interest, we have these zones. I'm just doing analysis. Then later I'm gonna give you another example. So we have this area. That's number one area where the weekly candle is currently playing. Then another area is this one. Let me put on, I mark a V level here. It is not there. So we currently have that zone. We have this zone. Why? Close. This is the closing price there. So this candle literally this was slippage, but literally it had to open off this area. So we take this or else, but since it is in line with that in this gap, so this is the area which we will look at. So it is playing in these two areas of interest. So after it tapping there, we go on a daily to look for breakout. Let me see where it opened from. We go on a daily to look for breakout. So this candle came, opened, rejected. So it has, for us to confirm buys, it has to break out here. It has to break out there. To confirm more buys, it has to break out there. But you can see it is still playing in the same zone. Also on a daily, it is still playing in the same zone. So you can see it is kind of still consolidating. But since neither has weekly or monthly given us full, we can see that monthly it is buying. It confirmed buy, so it is buying. Weekly hasn't given us clear bias to where we shall go with the price. So we use the daily time frame. It is just easy, though currently guys you're kinda lost. You don't know what to do. But it is kinda lost. So the nearest area of a daily where price rejected off is this candle here. This is what I'm taking currently. When it was moving, it is that, and also this on a daily. Oh, this was just a line, Wama. That was just a line. So these are this zone here, Wama. zone. So you can see that on a daily it rejected. So remember, on a weekly you want to see a breakout of here. After this candle closing above this area, it has to first close the daily to confirm weekly bias. So we can see that it rejected. So let's go on 4 hour. Let me first mark the candle that rejected here. I'm looking at this candle, 4 hour. So you can see it opened, came and rejected, and broke out. Broke out here. This was the breakout. You can see it broke out here. PM. This was all the rejection on a daily. So it came and broke out there. So we look at the nearest fresh levels where we shall look for buys. So the first area is this one. Looking at buys, but it is risky. So there you have to enter with confirmations. Though I'll show you another way of how I trade these areas. Let me see. Came and rejected, broke out. So there are areas where you just enter with also another confirmation that if, so you have to be with an if. So another area where you anticipate price coming, it is there. So if you go on a little bit more down for a sniper entry, this would be the area. You'll be waiting there. But remember, it had also left areas of interest. So this is all literally, what? The stop loss is 2 pips stop loss. You can see this is 2 pips stop loss. It's me, literally, it's what I do. But if you are to enter in this first area of interest here, you can see that the candle came and rejected. So 4 hour rejected 4 hour. And what did it do? It broke out. 4 hour rejected. Four-hour came and rejected. It tapped in. It tapped here. Then one, it formed a zone here. It formed a zone. Though on 1 hour it had broken out here. So the nearest area of entry, of course, it would be, it is in line with the daily zone, this daily zone, and 4 hour. So you tap there your what? Your buys. Your buys. And where these are, the why I don't really trade these, because these are just kind of intraday. You're looking for 20 pips, 30 pips, or even 100 pips a day. So the nearest area of interest, of course, we have this one. We have this. We have this area. How many pips are these? Enter there. These are 20. 20. We have 30. So these are just stupid pips that me personally I don't entertain. That's why I just stick on my main move. Though I will teach you so that you as a person, you find which entry model will suit you, because I have a little bit of more. They are easy to understand. Don't worry about. They are easy to understand. They are really, really easy to understand. So that's number one buy of this, of the buy that is there. So then if we are to look at this rejection of 4 hour, we have to see a breakout here, right? Of which, if we zoom in, yes, it did what? It broke out. Broke out. As you can see, the candle closed below. It broke out. So the nearest area to buy price, it is to sell price, it is this one here. So you be patient. So you can see that this is the only fresh level that is around for me to sell price. So you be patient and wait. you be in position to sell, to risk, because you have already done analysis. To risk, how many pips? Those are 10 pips. Those are actually 8 pips that you're risking. Since you're dealing with the daily level, where is the nearest daily level? Where is the nearest daily level? Of course, as it is confirming buys, as it is confirming weekly buys, it will have to first sell, then it comes here and does what? And buys. Then let's look at, or else price tomorrow it might have it might be volatile, comes and taps, still it closes below. So still the weekly hasn't done what? Hasn't confirmed anything. So we keep on selling. Why do we sell? We are selling, going to the weekly to confirm this monthly and activate this monthly buys. We see. So you'll be there. You'll be there, then you'll be like, okay, let me wait for either price. When price comes here, I will risk. And you have to also be checking on the charts and you see what price has presented, because we trade what price says, not what we say ourselves. So the nearest area of interest, of course, it will have created here, but if since it has done what? Since it has confirmed, it confirmed here the nearest area of interest. Of course, this is at the close. The open is here. Of course, we will take this. But if the candle comes and rejects there, the nearest area would be this. Why? This is the nearest fresh level. So you'll be selling off. How many this is 18 RR, then you'll be waiting for that 18 RR. So literally you are waiting. That's where I take trades. I take 2 to 3 trades a week. If price comes here, of course I will just have to risk. But in some cases, since this is a 4-hour zone, you can even still wait. Price rejects, breaks out, comes, you enter, then you do what? You sell. So this is I'm just giving up analysis how I do that, but literally all your homework is look at these time frames on any pair. All I want is find you zoom in your chart like this. Zoom in your chart like this. You'll be like, I'm looking for any area of interest. Which areas are there? Hey, we have a V level. Was it rejected? Yes. You first look at whether it was rejected. You mark at it. Then you go on one time frame below. You'll be like, this is where it rejected from. Has it broken out? No, it has not broken out. So you move away from it. On all these time frames, monthly, weekly, daily, and 4-hour, any of your choice that you'll be looking at. But literally, for you, any time frame, yes. This week, because it has 6 days, 1 day for us to learn. You can be like, since we have 1, 2, 3, 4 time frames, each time frame I'm going to give it 1 day, 1 day. I send for the monthly reject monthly, day weekly breakout. You send like five. That will be how I want you to send your homework. Is after you finding out that after you marking that, okay, monthly rejected monthly, you go on one time frame below and you say breakout. Then you come back on a monthly time frame. Let me say, for example, on monthly, you first mark the rejection, then you name it monthly reject monthly. You screenshot, you send, then you go on weekly time frame, then you send also breakout. Differently, don't combine up things, because I just want things to be clear. I see that you guys you're getting it what? You're getting it right. Okay? Yes, am I communicating?
Yeah.
Any questions, or you guys have been lost, or any questions so that I help out? No, gracious. Were you were you getting it right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. What's up, Emma?
Yeah, I've got them.
Okay. They are just they are just simple things. Just remember that me, I don't trade news, so I just stick on how prices, how the price action that is happening here. I just risk out on my each pair. I wait I wait for it to move. I don't I'm not this kind of person that will come and teach you that let's trade news. No, I don't trade news. News is kind of, it's not bad, but I don't trade it. So for example, as you can see last week even I told you about this. Hopefully you remember what I told you about the weekly time frame. The last lesson that we had, that this is the the area that I'm looking at for price to buy. Then I told you that this week I may give you an anticipation where the NFP is going, right? Didn't I? So after price breaking out this area, so it didn't give me confirmations of after rejection here, because after rejection I wanted to see a breakout of this area. Rejection, price closes, then this candle breaks out. Then there I will confirm that we are buying price, but it didn't give me any confirmation. So what did I do? I stayed out of the market. I didn't trade. Montegedao. I did not do what? Trade. I did not trade. So somebody so Emma, you were on the last what? On the last session. You remember very well when I said that I'm looking at this price this week, last week, since it opened from here, that I'm looking at this area to push price up with confirmations, but if it breaks below, it will have to create another zone where I will look at for more confirmation to sell. So after this, you can see this rejection here, this rejection. So for us to continue selling, instead of us waiting for price to break here, we shall wait for tomorrow to come and reject in this area. Then we look for our breakout, here like this. I'm just giving you the outlook of where I'm anticipating, the what, the NFP to go. Okay. This candle is closing in 1 hour, right? So remember how I told you how to mark levels. We don't mark the open, okay? We mark the closing price. So you can see, if you put on line chart, you can see that this is the V level that is around this one here. This. So in this area there is nothing. On the line chart, you can see there is nothing. So we mark this. Who is just joining in? Amos. Who is Kizili Amos? Who? Yes, please introduce yourself.
Mr. Chris, it's me, Amos.
Okay. But you're joining. Okay. Yeah, you have used another account. Okay, it's okay.
Yeah, I've used another contact. I have two telegrams. So.
Okay, it's okay. So then the outlook on where the NFP might go, or another trend of the dollar where it is going. One, we have to see that after this rejection, it breaks out. So we are here, if somebody not to trade this week, rejection will wait for price to come and break out here. So that would say that currently the DXY has changed, it is now bearish. So the nearest area for it to stop, to look whether it continues buys or sells, it is this area, this gap, this support level. So we may reject, then price has to break out, then it comes and sells. But for us to be in a trade, we shall wait for this candle to close, comes and rejects, and if it breaks out of this area after breaking out here, then we shall be looking for trades off there. But since this is kind of London and stuff, that we might have a Tokyo session, so because of this consolidation that is here, price might come and hit us out, then this would be the nearest area of entry. This, if price doesn't leave any fresh level of this area, so this is our area which will make price to continue selling that. As we are waiting for a breakout, this is the area we shall be looking at, in line with the candle rejection that will be here. So this is the first entry of sales, the daily area of interest. Then this one here, it's a, so price has given us 3 areas, as you can see. This, you see all this, it has given us this gap, this V level, and this A level, and also it left a QM. So these are the areas somebody will be looking at selling price. But as a trade, of course, I won't take this because it is risky. I won't take this because it is risky. So if price rejects here, I have to wait for 1 hour to break out. It will break out here, then price comes back, taps me to sell. You see how I do analysis. Then here, of course, I'll enter there. Enter this area. Yeah, this one is okay. Then I'll enter in that area like that. So that's how that's my outlook on DXY. So it will either come, sell after confirming of 4 hour after, because of the daily rejection, when this candle closes in 1 hour. It is just simple, just that at first things look kind of difficult, but it is simple as long as in the process of you looking for a trend. So let's go on GBP USD, GBP USD. GBP USD. How did I get is how did I get these buys here? So you can see that I was using 4-hour because it wasn't that clear. I was using 4-hour, so price came rejected. Price came rejected. Rejected. All I was waiting for. Let me go back on 4-hour. This is the kind that rejected. All I was waiting for is for a breakout. You can see it rejected. It opened, the candle opened here, then after it rejecting, it came and broke out. Here. Came and broke out there. So the nearest area of entry was this. Literally, I went, because these were all unfresh levels. So one, I first went on 4-hour to look for that fresh level. Screen, okay. So if you look very well, this is the area. Let me remove these drawings. These were all risk areas because I knew what the DXY has done. So one, this is the first area of entry. So I went on 1 hour to look for that. So I can't see anything there. I went on 30 minutes. On 30 minutes, I didn't see anything. I went on 50. On that, I went on that. Still, there were these areas. And also there is another area here. Though I didn't use them. Why? Because I never wanted to refine so a lot, so I was stuck on 4-hour. On 4-hour that, but because I had this, it was since I was doing MTF to look for that sniper trades, and on 4-hour, the same area that did the rejection, it is here. So I was just like, let me put here trade. As you can see, this is the same area that did the rejection, and we had another area here. So I was like, this area is risky, so I can use this, can give me an entry, because it will this is the last area that will prevent price to go deep in deeper zones there like that. So I placed on my buy. Then I was risking some 15 pips, even 10, 12, 10. There were 10 pips by now, like that. I was taking it up. Let me look where I was taking, because it was a 4-hour area of interest. It was a 4-hour area of interest. It was the first TP was here, but since I was aligning it with the DXY, wanting the DXY to break here, so I had to just do what? Just chill this trade and keep holding it like that for the week, just like that. So though later when it went up, since I was I'm sick, literally I'm really sick, so I never wanted to monitor stuff. So I had set a break here, I break even somewhere here, so I slept off. Then price later came and snatched me out. Then again it bought. Then these ones are still buying because of these buys that are here that I told you about of a daily. Let me go on another broker. I show you how I got those good buys. So in most, this broker is fake, by the way. I can't use this one. I won't use that broker. FXM is much better. Is it? Let me look at this one, forex.com. I like doing analysis on forex.com, but I don't know why it's so like. Just a minute. This analysis is off here. So you can see, I'm going to show you how you can find a reversal when where you anticipate price to come and does a reversal of an area where you are expecting, then so you can see that price did the weekly reject weekly. It hasn't broken out yet. Okay, so the breakout will be affirmative of that area, but if you look closed on a weekly is selling. Why? Because it came, rejected there, then it broke out. So weekly is selling. So this was just an entry. This was an entry of a weekly zone for price not to come, for it to continue selling. So it is kinda selling, though here we had a daily reject daily. So I will teach you about this level here later. I don't want to go much into that. Then let me show you the analysis I did today of these areas. So after price closing on Tuesday, on Monday, after this spike, on Tuesday it closed bullish. So I was waiting for price. If price has to reject here, and when it didn't reject, it formed a zone here, formed an area there. These areas that you guys, some of you saw that I'm buying from there. So after price came and rejected, open there, the previous candle it opened. So this is the zone that led to the rejection. This one here, this, as you can see, the candle came rejected on 4 hour. It broke out on 4 hour. It did what? It broke out here. It broke out. Hence leaving this area sweet for what? For buys. But literally gold is gold, so I had to move on. Low time frames, I find that area where I will get an entry that isn't so much risky. So you can see that I found this area here. What was I risking? I was risking, these are 40, so it was kind of much, so I had to a little bit go deeper to find a little more little. So we can see that we had close, we had zones here, a lot of them. We had this zone, we had that zone, we had also another zone of this area, this one here. So these are areas of kind of stacking. So this is my last area, but this one's more risky than this one's. So you put on 1 hour. You see how price came? See how price came? It first came, reacted immediately, reacted off all these, gave a buy off, then later you can see how it came tapped, then it first bought, then it came as if it wants to take us out. Of course, this is the last area, because for me I have only one entry, so this last line is my last hope. But even you can go still on 1 minute. When you're doing that type of how do you get entry like when you're looking out for entries, you can still go even on 1 minute. So somebody might be waiting. Let me delete this. But the more you refine, you may miss a trade. So where are the nearest areas of interest we have? We have this. Let me put on a magnet for price to mark the exact areas. We have that. So you can see this. So literally on 1 minute, that's where I can engage with the QM. We have that. So you can see this, it is a QM. So you can see that it is something little. But remember I said that the more you refine, you may miss a trade. The more you refine, you can miss a trade. So literally I have missed trades like trades. So you can see that. So the right way of marking a QM, this is not the right QM. Why? Because price hasn't closed below the price hasn't closed below this price never closed below this candle wick. So we don't take this one. Instead, we take this one here. Why? We can see candle bodies closing off this area, hence making it strong. So these are the two areas where somebody can wait for a trade. So you can see how price came and first tapped into the QM. Of course, here you could have missed with something little like 1 pip. But it is so powerful. And if you look on 3 minutes, this was the zone. On 3 minutes, the last result on 3 minutes. So you can see how snipers are created. How much are you risking? Let me remove this magnet. So somebody might be like, man, guy, I'm gonna go trades ku gold. So how many pips are these? Literally 14 pips. If price goes below 15 to 14 pips, that's my rule. If price goes below 14 to 15 pips, that setup is not valid. That setup never is valid with me. So literally it should stop in the midst of 13 or even not even reaching there. So you can see how this entry was engaged. That. And even there is another live session that I held. So literally the thing is, you put on your 15 pips. So this is where you guys, you be with a small account, then you can see that you don't be there for so long. Like you can see the first candle that taps you in, or even if here. The reason why I like these last areas, because when price taps there, it gives you time for you like to relieve that stress. You get, comes and taps you in and starts moving. The first 15 minutes you're already in profit like that. So where is the TP? Because it is the daily level that I was looking at. Here it was here. So since it had left, since when it was coming to activate me, it left this zone. So you're already out. Let me show you something. You don't have to stick so long in the market. So you have already done what? Gone out. That's 17 RR, 280 pips. That's your out. The reason me I may hold is because I want to see price at least go up. Trade off this area. There is a zone that may activate, sells off there. So people who caught up some sales today, you can see that even when price came into this 4-hour area of interest in line with the daily, it rejected. After rejection, let me show you where sales came in. Those are kind of London sales. We move with confirmation. So you can see this is the candle that it opened here. It opened here, came and did a rejection and broke out. Broke out. Broke out. Broke out. So let's go on 4-hour. We look for that zone. So this is the zone that price left. This is the zone price left. So we can't enter there because of this wick that was left, because price is there. So we go on 30 minutes. We look for the area. It's not there. 15 minutes. You can see that on 15 minutes it left this. That left that, right? And if you zoom in a little bit more, you had that. If it taps me out in those 15 minutes, of course, it's a loss. So I chill. So I couldn't take all this, but literally it is the same thing. It is the same concept that I do. What I used, it moved 50 pips, then it came later, moved into down. So I risk small, gaining much. So you can see that it. So the reason why I don't use what 4-hour, it's because it is a smaller time frame. So me basically I look at the daily time frame. So after taking me out, I want to see this price at least reject there. As you can see this rejection, then it breaks out here. Here. After breakout, that's when I'll be like, the daily has changed. The daily has changed. Now I may do what? I may sell here. I may sell in that area of interest. Even if they bang you out, the same way you trade, it is the same way it remains. I don't change. See? These are like 29, but these are worth a risk, because I'm honest. You MTF till that last zone. So somebody who is looking at getting a sniper entry, but remember, the more you refine, the more you can miss a trade. But it is, the more you refine, you can miss. But when it comes your way, you get it right. So somebody might be waiting for a trade off there on that tip of the week, after breakout on 4-hour here. After this candle comes, breaks out, then wait for buys, come taps us, then we sell. If that happens, that's what I'll be looking at. Let's look at the weekly time frame of the gold. But remember, those were low time frames, and the way you trade the higher time frame, the way you trade the low time frames. So it will be risky for somebody to continue in buys. Why? Because we have these zones. that have been rejected. This is a rejection, right? So we are waiting for what? We are waiting for, let me go back on now. So this is a candle. So you can see it open here, it has done a rejection. So we are waiting for breakout here. We are waiting for breakout there. Then let me go on 1 hour. I see. So it is the same thing. Those who are waiting, they can still sell off this area. This area, you can, let me go on low time frame. You see. So you can see I'm selling price of, you can see that. So these are the first entries, then these are the last entries in the same zone. So this area, it is the weekly, and this is the daily area. So both areas are there. The monthly and the weekly and the daily areas are there for selling price. So literally we may see what we call on NFP somebody. If price doesn't come and activates, man, we can say that we stay out of the news. I may say we stay out of the news on gold. We may have double sword. So let me look at DXY. We may have double sword. So I'm only this news. Let's stay out, because they may confirm. Today it's a Wednesday. It may come and confirm and reject. On Thursday it breaks out. Then on Friday on DXY it first buys. It first buys to activate this on DXY it first pumps to activate these buys. Then it sells. That's what I'm anticipating, but I'm not the market maker. I'm anticipating what I am seeing the next days. If the price really wants to sell, it has to come and reject here, confirms on 4 hour, then it may either buy, then sells to confirm these sales, then it later buys to now sell the weekly, or else it may activate, then it just sells off. So those are the outlooks. So the NFP, literally we may get double swords, power. Either we first pump down, then we buy, or else we pump up, then we sell on the gold. But on Thursday I may have the actual forecast of the NFP. So let's be kinda patient. So that's all for today, guys. The homework, as I said, look, you just go on your pair, look for the area of interest, rejection, then you look for breakout. Even if you go on gold, but as long as you don't send me the charts that way I was showing you. Then if you go on charts, then you go back in time, those who have premium, because me currently at the level I have, I don't need premium because I know what I'm doing. Premium is for back testing. I don't back test, I only for test. So like that, you get. So that is all for today, guys. It is really late, 2 hours. So guys, have a great day. Let me let you go. You guys, you go and rest and have some time with your family. Those who are going to party like Emma, please, you can go and party.
Okay.
All right, have a good day.